Hi, this is Anil and welcome to the video tutorial for the Learning Lad on C++ programming. So in this tutorial we're going to learn about the copy constructors in C++. So first of all, what are these copy constructors? A copy constructor is nothing but a overloaded constructor. We have learned how to overload the constructors to take different parameters and different types of parameters. So this copy constructor is one of them. And the next thing is, what is the use of this copy constructor, or why we have to use this copy constructor? So before explaining anything, I want to show you the problem that's gonna arise if we don't use the copy constructor. So here, just for the demonstration purpose, I have already created a class in my program, and the class name is person, and we have two public members called name and age, and then we have a constructor called person, which is going to take two parameters and is going to initialize the class members. And then we have a method called change name and age, which is going to take two parameters and it's going to change the value stored in these members. It's going to change the name and also it's going to change the age. And then we have our introduce method, which is going to print out the value stored in these members. Alright, simple enough. The next thing that we're gonna do is, for the demonstration purpose, I'm gonna create an object of this class person. So here in my main function, I'm gonna write person, and let's say Anil, and we're gonna pass two parameters. First parameter is gonna be the name Anil, and then the age 24. The next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna call the introduce method. So it's gonna be Anil dot introduce. So here, the value Anil will be stored to the name member, and the 24 will be stored to the age member of this object Anil. Now when we use this introduce method, it's gonna print out the value. So I'm gonna build and run this. Hey, I am Anil and I am 24 years old. Alright. The next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create another object. Let's say person duplicate Anil. And this duplicate Anil is going to contain the same values as this Anil. So I'm going to use the equal to symbol and I'm going to write Anil. So now what we were intended to do is we want to copy all the members of the Anil, the name and age, and we want the exact copy in this duplicate Anil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use duplicate Anil, and I'm going to call the introduce method. Now, if I build and run this, hey, I am Anil and I'm 24 years old. That's from the Anil object. And then, hey, I am Anil and I'm from 24 years old. That's from the duplicate Anil. It means that, when we use this equal to assignment, all the members of this Anil object is copied to this duplicate Anil object. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to change the value of this name and age of the Anil object by using change name and age method. So here, I'm gonna call the method, so it's gonna be Anil dot change name and age, and here I just want to say Anil Shetty, and then I'm gonna pass age, let's say 100. Anil is 100 years old now. Now I'm gonna call this Anil dot introduce again, and then I'm gonna call duplicate dot introduce. So now if I build and run this, now you guys can see we get, hey, I am Anil and I am 24 years old, and the same thing in the second line, that is from this Anil.introduce, and then the duplicate Anil.introduce, the value is exactly copied. And then we have changed the name and age of this Anil object, and that's why when we call the introduce method, it says, hey, I am Anil Shetty, the new name, and I am 100 years old. And then from this duplicate Anil object, we get, hey, I am Anil and I am 24 years old. So everything is perfect. So here we have the simple types, the string and int, and we are not using any pointers, or we haven't used any dynamic memory allocation here. That's why when we use this type of simple members, the allocation works as we expected. The next thing, or the problem, arises when we use the dynamic memory allocation. Here, let's say we're gonna have a pointer of this name, and we're gonna change the code slight a bit. So here in this constructor, we're gonna allocate dynamically. So it's gonna be new, and then string, and we're gonna pass the name. So here you guys can see, this name is a pointer which is gonna contain a string value, and this age is a simple variable, that's it. And since it is a pointer, we need to use the star operator here while changing the value. So it's gonna be star, and then I'm gonna use parenthesis to group this, name equal to name, and here also when we refer this, we need to use star. Otherwise, this name is a pointer, it's going to contain the address of the memory, it's going to print out the address. So to get the value stored in that pointer, we're going to use the value at operator. Alright, now we haven't changed anything here. Now I'm gonna build and run this program, and now you guys can see it says, hey, I'm Anil and I'm 24 years old. That's from the Anil object, when we created it and when we call this introduce method. And then we have created the duplicate object of that Anil using the equal to. And it says, hey, I'm Anil and 24 years old. Fine. Next, we have changed the name and age of the Anil object. So you guys can see, name of the Anil object is changed to Anil Shetty and age is 100. And when we call the introduce method, it says, hey, I'm Anil Shetty and I'm 100 years old. And then we just call the introduce method from the duplicate object. What do we get? We get, hey, I'm Anil Shetty and I am 24 years old. Look at this, this duplicate object's name property is also changed when we change the name of this Anil object. So, and also, the age is not changed. Age is still 24 in the duplicate object, and it is 100 in the original Anil object. So it means that when we use the pointers as the class members, and we use the dynamic memory allocation, and also when we copy the object, at that time the bit by bit copy takes place. And that's why in this Anil object, the name is containing a pointer, a memory address, and that's why that memory address is copied to this duplicate Anil's name member. So at that time, both objects are containing the memory address of a same string. So it is Anil Shetty, which is changed by our change name and age method. So that's why the name property of this Anil and this duplicate Anil's object are pointing to the same string. So we don't want that. What we want is when we create a new object and assign the values of one object, both objects should contain different values. And if we change the value of one object, and it should not reflect in another object. So it means that there is a problem when we copy one object to another object. The same problem occurs when we pass an object to a function by copy. At that time, the copy takes place, and the same problem. And also if a function is returning any object, at that time also same problem occurs. So what is the solution? The solution is to use the copy constructor. A copy constructor is nothing but an overloaded constructor, and this copy constructor is called whenever we copy an object of that class. So to define a copy constructor, since it is a constructor, it has the same name as the class. So it's going to be person, and then it's going to take an object of this class by reference. So we're going to use the constant keyword, just to make sure that the value of that past object should not be changed. So it's going to be const, and then person, the object of the same class type, and then let's say p, and we are taking it by reference. So here, this copy constructor will be called whenever we copy an object of this class. So here what we can do is we can make sure that when we use the pointers as our class members, the different memory should be allocated to that member. So here what we're gonna do is when we copy, we want to allocate an entirely different memory, and we want to copy the string. To do that, here inside this copy constructor, I'm gonna write name equal to, and then I'm gonna create a new string, so a different memory. So it's gonna be new string, and in that string what I want to store? I want to store the name of the object that we are copying. Here in this case, when we copy that here, this Anil object will be passed. So this P is going to contain the Anil object. What we want to store in the name member of the duplicate object, we want to store the name of the Anil object. We can get that by using p.name. So this p.name is containing the address of a memory location which contains the name. So we want the name, not the memory address. That's why we can use the value at operator here. That's it. And the next thing is, this copy constructor will be called whenever we copy one object to another. So here, that's why if we don't initialize this age at that time, the age variable of that copied object is going to contain garbage value. So we're going to initialize that one also. So it's going to be age equal to p.age. So here we're not using the value at operator, because this age is not a memory address. It is containing a value. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to build and run this program. And now you guys can see, when we create a new object of this Anil and call the introduce method, it says, hey, I am Anil and I'm 24 years old. And then we have created the duplicate object. And at that time, the copy constructor is called. So just to demonstrate that, I can add a cout here. Copy constructor is called, and let's end this line, and also we need to add the semicolon in the end. Now I'm gonna build and run it again. Alright, now hey, I'm Anil and I'm 24 years old. That's from the Anil object. And then we copied the Anil object to duplicate Anil. At that time, the copy constructor is called, and the introduce method of the duplicate Anil says, hey, I'm Anil and 24 years old. All the values are exactly copied. And then we have changed the value of the Anil object using the change name and age. At that time, the value of the Anil object has changed, and we can see that here I'm Anil Shetty and I'm 20 and I'm 100 years old. The change name and age. And then if we call the duplicate Anil's introduce method, it says, hey, I'm Anil and I'm 24 years old. So now, because of this copy constructor, these two objects are not sharing any same memory location. So both of them are containing different values in different memory locations. And also, when we won't define this copy constructor, there will be a default copy constructor called by the C++, but there will not be any statement. That's why the bit by bit copy takes place. So this is it, guys. This is about the copy constructor in C++. Why we have to use this, what's the problem that's going to arise if you don't use it, and also how to use it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like my Facebook page at facebook.com/learninglad, and stay updated with the latest videos that we're gonna make, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.